You know, like I overweigh talent over a lot of things in my life, to good and bad degrees. But like, to me, I'm just attracted to geniuses and talented people. And it's just like, you know, and so I follow, that's how the lead I follow. And I was still making records in LA, but a friend, this guy Stone Gossard, who's a guitar player in Pearl Jam, they had just kind of blown up. And he invited me to come to Seattle and start a record company with him. And at first I kind of resisted. I had a lot of cool things to work on in LA and was busy as a producer. But he kind of sexed me up about it, got me excited about it. And he had, and the deal would be with Epic, so we'd be well funded, it'd be a cool thing. But he had a band that he thought should be our first record if I would do this record company with him. And they were a three-piece instrumental band that just did insane jazz music and didn't like any of their songs. And so I go, well, that sounds good. You know, like I'm excited by that. And Stone liked him, and we'd known each other. I worked on the Mother Love Bone record, which was the previous band to Pearl Jam, and so I knew him really well. But it was a three-piece: sax, bass, and drums. The drummer was this guy Matt Chamberlain, and the bass player was Brad Hauser, and they had played together in Edie Brickell's band and had this one big kind of hit that was really cool. But then for some reason that all blew up, and these two guys ended up in Seattle, and now they had this crazy person's three-piece band. And so I finally say yes to the whole concept. I moved to Seattle for a year. The first record I make there was Stone. Stone has set up a studio in his basement, which I help him set up. The first record we make is with this band called Critters Buggin', which was Matt's band. And so Matt and I hit it off. He's a, you know, great drummer and cool for lots of stuff. That record turned out neat. It's weird, you know, but it was neat. They really literally came into the studio the first day, and they got in a big fight out in the recording room. Stone and I are in the control room, and I'm kind of getting geared up. They get in this big fight, and then they come in together into the control room and go, "Can we talk to you guys?" And we go, "Sure." We haven't really been listening in on their fight. We just figured it'll blow over and we'll get to it. But they go, "Can we talk to you guys?" We go, "Sure." And they go, "We're breaking up." I go, well, and I'm like, "You just got a record deal," which nobody else is going to give you guys. We gave you a record deal. And it's the first day of your record, and so your response is to break up. Why don't you explain that to me, like how that works? And they said, "Well, we hate all our songs, and we don't want to play them." And I think Stone goes, "Well, what would you like to play? You know, maybe that's a record, you know?" And they go, "I don't know, can we just jam?" Stone's like, looks at me and kind of goes, "What do you think?" And I go, "Yeah, they could just jam. Why don't you guys go get geared up for that and let me and Stone talk about it." So they go out there. I'm not thinking we're getting anything we're going to use here, by the way. But that's what I'm good at. And so Stone goes back out there, and I go, "What do you think?" And he goes, "Look," he goes, I met this guy this morning tried to sell me a brick of hash, okay? And I said no, because I don't really like hash. Because I'm thinking I could buy the brick of hash, we can put it in the freezer. And he goes, "What can you do with guys that jam?" And I said, "Well, I've been playing with this new thing called, that DigiDesign is making, and they're sort of calling it Pro Tools. It's just 2 tracks of digital audio, but they said they're going to blow it out to more tracks." I said, imagine if these guys jammed and I had, say, even just 8 tracks of digital editing capability that we could play with these things they're going to jam on. It could be neat. He goes, I go, "I need like a week to get that gear together. And let me call DigiDesign, see if they got that ready, see if I can try it out and shit like that." And he goes, "Sounds good." And he goes, "We'll just have them come over every day and talk about it, and maybe they'll play a little bit, and I'll have the hash ready. And then you get the gear." I go, "Yeah, sounds great." And so we did that. We made this album with them, and you know, it's just an instrumental record, but the funny thing was, then somebody illegally used a song from it in the trailer of some huge movie. I forget, it was the Tupac movie, I think. It's in the trailer of the Tupac movie, and somebody else noticed, and so they had to pay us like 200 grand. And so the band, we split it all up like 5 ways. It was like us, 3 guys in the band, we split like 200 grand. It was like this, so it's a completely weird first record story with Matt. And he and I got real tight. I start using him to play on other records stuff. He starts getting in with T-Bone. So I think T-Bone really helped him a ton get around to LA and stuff. He's just like a perfect session musician. Just, great time, great player, great attitude, loves playing lots of different things. I think it was Stone too, just said one day, he goes, how do you not feel like playing music if Matt's sitting there playing the groove? He goes, how do you not? And I go, yeah, that's really a great way to say it. So then, after the year in Seattle getting the label going, that's when I moved to and set up Sweet Tea in Mississippi. I didn't go back to LA, I set up in Mississippi. And I said I would have Matt come down and play on things there, on different projects and stuff. And Matt came down and worked on Space Boy, his own little insane thing that he's had going off and on forever. And Matt suggested leaving a set of drums at the studio, so he always had great drums to play. He didn't have to bring drums every time he came from Seattle to Mississippi, And so he brought this Gretsch, 60s Gretsch wood kit. Sounded amazing, best sounding kick drum we ever recorded there. And we'd use it on all kinds of things. Just pull out that kick drum, let drummers use their toms and their cymbals and shit with that kick drum. So it's just a great kit. And at some point, Matt goes, I'm just leaving these drums here all the time. Do you want to just buy them from me? I go, sure. That's fine. I don't care. I go, how much do you want? He goes, I don't know. It was something nominal. And I go, sure, I'll give, yeah. And then they're mine and they're not yours. He goes, yeah. So they became my drums at some point, and they live with the studio, and they sound incredible, like great 60s wood drums that he picked out. I mean, I remember while we were there in Seattle working on that record, he goes, this drums shop here in Seattle's having a sale, and there's this snare drum you should buy. And I go, why don't you buy it? And he goes, Dennis, I have 100 snare drums. You know what I mean? And I go, yeah, I could stand to have a couple of snare drums that are like, you think are cool. I'm into that. And so one of them, we go to the shop, and I bought 2 snares that he said to buy. I mean, he would take a stick and hit them and shit. I'm just like some producer. I don't know. It sounded great to me, but I was like, if Matt wants to play on it, I'm going to buy it. One of them was this no-name snare, he called it. I think it is of a non-brand. It has no brand, but sounded amazing. I think those are tubeless. I don't know. I'm not a drummer. I'm just like a producer, but like a good drummer told me to get this snare, and so I had it. And there was another one that's a Radio King from the Ludwig snare that's from the early 30s. We have that here too. It's in its own little 1930s case. And so that was the other one he said to buy. I think the Radio King was $60 or something, and this one was, it was just this drum store had too many things, but Matt was like, the Radio King snare, by the way, the other one that's the same model, and I think Matt said year of the DeMaker snare that John Bonham played on the band Led Zeppelin, they were called. So, and that's a really great sounding snare. We used that a billion times. We used this a billion times. I think those, it's no name, no brand.